Hello, it's Squadaloo back with another episode of Let's Play Mario Kart WiiMix in VR. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Mario Kart Tour tracks. So let's just dive into some of my thoughts on Mario Kart Tour. I played Tour for about a year, starting in, I think, May 2021. Whichever Tour introduced the Ninja Hideaway, or Ninja Hideaway. My brain is fried right now. I think it's Ninja Hideaway. And then I played for a little over a year after that. I know it's a very divisive game because it's free to play. Was gacha, not anymore. Mobile game. I think it's okay for what it is. That's pretty much my review of it. I think there's some interesting... I like the whole scoring mechanic. I think it makes a fun design element to all the tracks to have alternate routes that are technically slower but give you more opportunities for points. Because I guess if you don't know, there's a whole point scoring system in Mario Kart Tour. And that system also gives you... It gives you more reason to use a variety of characters and vehicles. But you have to earn the characters. That's where the whole loot boxes and stores and everything come in, and where the pay element comes in. So yeah, that's the whole thing there. There's been debates as to whether or not Mario Kart Tour counts as a mainline Mario Kart game. As I kind of said near the end of the last episode, my opinion on that is shut up. Because it absolutely doesn't matter whether it counts or not. Because... it doesn't change the reality. Because everyone's like, is it Mario Kart 9? Well, the only thing that changes is whether or not the next Mario Kart might have a 9 or a 10 at the end of its name. Whether or not Mario Kart Tour is Mario Kart 9 doesn't change the reality that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is getting DLC, and we don't have another console Mario Kart coming soon. So, it doesn't really matter. Also, I should note this is technically a little different than the latest release of Mario Kart WiiMix, which has 5 Tour Cups. I decided to get rid of the GBA Tour Cup because I just felt like it was too much of the GBA stuff, especially as they keep remaking more GBA tracks. So I just decided to take a few of the GBA tracks that I had in that cup, replace some of the old GBA tracks with those, and I also felt like a lot of the city stuff was repetitive, so I limited it to one version of each city for each. Basically only one city track, kind of like how Mario Kart 8 handles it. And also I threw Sky High Sundae and Yoshi's Island as tour tracks because they kind of are. I mean, they were developed for that and 8 Deluxe at the same time, presumably. So, yeah. And also, I kind of wanted this whole pack to be done in chronological order, so it didn't really make sense to suddenly leap ahead to 8 Deluxe, then suddenly back to Tour. So, it's kind of just thrown in with Tour in chronological order. Also, last thing, I am now playing as a Mii, because I finally figured out how to get Mii heads invisible, and now I have 3 different files with 3 different sized Miis, so I can swap between them. Doesn't really matter for this series, but it matters for me. So let's just go ahead and start now with Tokyo Blur. I have technically been close to, but not into the city of Tokyo myself. This version is by Bra Della Boy. It is based on the 8 Deluxe version, so I will be changing routes every lap. But yeah, technically I went near but not in Tokyo in real life. I saw the city, but I was actually technically in, I think, Chiba Prefecture? Either way, I was there for Tokyo Disneyland, which is technically just outside the city, but I was able to see the whole city in the distance. I didn't go into the city for various reasons I'm not really going to dig into. But yeah, as for this course sucks in Mario Kart Tour. Because it is divided into 4 versions, and really only the 4th one is any good whatsoever. The first one is terrible. It's basically just a square with 1 extra curve in it. And the second version's not much better. But yeah, it's a lot better than 8 Deluxe just because, like, the changing routes just helps make the course more interesting. Oh, I also forgot to mention I have image stabilization on in this recording, so we'll see if it's a little easier to watch for you all. I'm a little worried about the frame rates that I was getting when practicing with it, but we'll see how it turns out. For all I know, you won't get to hear any of this. But yeah, we're already on the 3rd lap here. Obviously, this course is very short. But I just do think the overall... It's still not one of the better city tracks, but I think overall having the layout change definitely helped it a lot compared to the original in Mario Kart Tour itself. Also, I think this music, for whatever reason, I never liked this music in Mario Kart Tour, but I think when they re-recorded it with live instruments from Mario Kart 8, it got a lot better. Yeah, so that's Tokyo Blur out of the way. Obviously, if you've never played Mario Kart Tour, I basically just ordered these courses in order of their release date in Mario Kart Tour, but Mario Kart Tour changes cups every single 2-week section for each tour. So there isn't really any... That's why all the subjects of these cups kind of bounce back and forth a little bit. I'm gonna move my headset here. I hope it doesn't make too much noise. It's really dragging down on my face for some reason. Alright, so next is Paris Promenade, which is a city I have been to twice, actually, including one last year. This version is by Bras de la Boy, but technically I also have a little bit of credits on here, because some of these textures were made by me. Because I was planning on remaking this for Mario Kart Wii, and I abandoned it when they announced the DLC for Mario Kart 8, because I didn't want to work on it anymore. But yeah, I realized after coming back to Paris last year, and then coming back and playing this, that they did a pretty decent job of kind of getting the city in a microcosm. I mean, obviously the Seine River... I'm going to apologize to everybody who speaks French, because I'm going to butcher everything here. The Seine doesn't like make a complete 90-degree turn here, but it does curve as it goes through the city. I didn't even realize that this was, I believe, supposed to be the Louvre, because the Piranha plant there replaces the glass pyramid that's in the center there. And then here we have the Champs-Élysées. I actually watch the Tour de France every year. For some reason, I'm not really into any sports. Actually, I first went to Paris in 2004. And when we got back, we saw the Tour de France on TV shortly after, the final leg in France. And so it was like, it was kind of fun seeing Paris again now that we've actually been there. And I've kind of just watched it yearly ever since. I don't know, I have a weird fascination with it. And so it was nice going back last year, and now I feel like the Champs-Élysées has a little more meaning to me, because I see it kind of on TV every year. Obviously, it's significantly less grand in Mario Kart than it is in real life here, with the Arc de Triomphe being way, 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 way larger in real life. Everything is way larger in real life. Also, a funny story about Paris. It is both where I got a fear of and lost my fear of heights. For whatever reason, when I went in 2004, I got horribly scared going up the Eiffel Tower. Just brutally scared. And so I was terrified to go up there again last year, and I found out that I had no fear whatsoever when I got up there. So I don't know what the hell that was about. But yeah. I like the city. It's a little dirty in some places, but I mean, the architecture is pretty much the best in the world, as far as I'm concerned. It's a very pretty city. I was very fortunate enough in 2004 to go into Notre Dame. Obviously wasn't able to this time after the whole fire and everything. Also, this entire race went by, and I didn't even talk about how this is in Mario Kart. I mean, it's okay. Going backward in the final lap in 8 Deluxe makes it a little more interesting, but really, I feel like there's a lot more fun city tracks, even if Paris itself is kind of beautiful. But yeah, so that was Paris Promenade. As far as cities that are in Mario Kart Tour, I've also been to New York, and I think that pretty much wraps up. And I've technically been to LA, so those are the 4 cities that are in Tour that I've been to. But obviously, the other 2 aren't in this game. Unlike Mario Kart 8, where I was going to give my feelings on all the courses that aren't here, I haven't played every Mario Kart Tour course, and also I don't really remember a lot of them. I mean, I guess New York is pretty good. Singapore is fun in 8 Deluxe, so is Bangkok. So is Amsterdam, yeah, you get the picture. Vancouver Velocity is up next. I believe this version's by ZPL. And it is based on Vancouver Velocity 1. I guess preview image is clearly not set up in whatever version I'm using here. Vancouver Velocity, I think 2 or 3, I think 2 is the other one I've done, takes a completely different route left into the city and through hockey stadium. And I don't know why there isn't any music. Oh, there is music, it's just insanely quiet. But yeah, Vancouver Velocity was usually considered one of the best tour tracks when I was playing the game, as far as like original to tour tracks. I mean, it's good. It's not great, but it was significantly better than a lot of the early city tracks. I feel like some of these later city tracks have gotten considerably better. So we'll see. I think it'll be fun when it comes into 8 Deluxe. Definitely because of the wildly different routes it takes through the city. Because really, I mean, obviously I am not familiar with Vancouver at all beyond what I remember from the 2010 Olympics. Which is appropriate because one of the only things I remember from the 2010 Olympics is the Olympic flame, which is conveniently right here in this course. But yeah, like, I'm sure that's a famous bridge. I sure as hell doesn't know. There's a bunch of details and stuff in the actual course that are just largely missing here in this version. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun when it comes to 8 Deluxe. I really feel like they'll be missing out if they don't make this section kind of anti-gravity. They really don't need to do anything. They kind of just do the fake anti-gravity where they just say that's anti-gravity. They don't need to really change it much. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Vancouver Velocity. As I said, fun in tour. This is still pretty fun. Visually, it could probably use a little bit of work, but also it is just a custom track in Mario Kart Wii. So, not a huge priority there. And I think this is where things get weird, because now we're going to bounce to the other half of the Mario Kart Tour tracks, which are the remix tracks. Starting with the Remix Mario Circuit 1. This course, I think, has a fun layout on paper in Mario Kart Tour. This version's by Luca, by the way. It's got a fun layout on paper, but the problem is it is way too oversized. Because it feels like it should be a fun course with a ton of like tight drifting and stuff, and it should be really cool. But like every straightaway, it actually feels, I think, a little better here than it does in Tour. In Tour, it just feels very slow to me. Like, much slower than I'd want it to be. But, like, even this section here, it's like, when I think of the classic SNES Mario circuits, I think of a lot of fast turns. And it just feels like a lot of this course is drug out with these straightaways between every turn. But you do get this cool benefit of hopping directly over the track twice, which builds nicely on my favorite SNES course ever, Mario Circuit 2, where that hopped over the course. It's fun with the pulling off, because now I get to actually see everyone make their jumps, even if they weren't supposed to be on screen. That's pretty fun. And I feel like I got a better view of that here than I would have if I were just playing in 2D, being in VR and everything. I just realized that every other episode of this series, I've had the AI on hard, and I think when I was doing testing earlier, I turned them to normal, which is probably explaining why they are absolutely getting destroyed right now. So I should probably fix that, because they really suck right now. I don't know why I'm going on. Obviously something's been done to this course, so I don't get as much error off of these trick ramps. But it's like kind of awkward. Okay. There goes Birdo. Yeah, I mean, I am a good half a lap ahead of all of them, and this course just is not even that long. That's gonna hit me, isn't it? Yeah, that weird trick thing where I just hit the ground is so bizarre. I don't know. Get a good look at everyone as we head for the finish line here. So, yeah, pretty decent track overall. I think I have custom textures off, and I meant to leave those on as well. Oops. Oh, well. But, yeah, that does it for the first cup for my sort of deal here, even though none of the cups are actually, like, real. Let me go in and let's set them to hard, just to make these races not just a parade to victory. I'm sure I'll regret that, because now I'm just going to get pelted. But whatever. Alright, so next up we've got the next cup, which I guess is my Peachette cup. I kind of just tried to pick a character that was sort of unique to Tour, except for Mario, because that was Mario Circuit 1 in there. So we have Peachette Cup with WiiMix Choco Island 1. I always call this course what I wish Excitebike Arena were, because it's got a very Excitebike-ish feel to it, with like all the trick ramps and everything. But it features this wild, brilliant innovation that I really wish Excitebike Arena would feature. Which is called turns. It's the latest and greatest thing, I'm telling you. I saw that coming, and my brain was just not ready to turn for some reason. But yeah, see, you go over a few trick ramps in a row, and then you actually turn the car. It's brilliant. Definitely makes things more exciting than traveling in a fucking straight line for 40 seconds straight. I mean, yeah. I've made no secrets in the past about saying it, but I fucking hate Excitebike Arena so much. It's one of my least favorite tracks ever. But yeah, I mean, this isn't the most exciting track in the world. It's still just very SNES-ish. But, I mean, if you just made these trick ramps more like Excitebike trip ramps, you'd have a good, solid Excitebike course, I think. Also, I think I ignored it, but I'm 99% sure this is also Luca. In fact, I'm pretty sure all but, like, one of these remix courses is done by Luca, who does a very good job adapting them for this. Although I will say I'm noticing that the lighting is a little off on all the objects, but I'm also... I'm not going to complain too much about that, because lighting in every Mario Kart game sucks to do. Especially Mario Kart 8. I've still never quite figured out how the files work for that, even though on paper I know how they work. In practice, they never seem to work the way I want them to. I'm still destroying the AI in this course. I don't know what the hell their problem is today. But yeah, that is Remix Choco Island 1. Overall, fun enough. Not a ton to say about it. definitely better than Remix Choco Island 2, which does have some of that excite bike-ish quality of tunnel long straightaways and just not much happening. Even though that one's still a little more exciting. So I had to include this with the lengthy name of Tour N64 Kalimari Desert 2. So it's weird because basically in Mario Kart Tour, they just lie and just say this is an N64 course, even though it never exists in the N64. But if you've never played Tour and you've only played the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe version, basically this is the equivalent of the second and third laps in the N64 Kalimari Desert as it appears in 8 Deluxe. Brad Dillaway and Krummers, as you can see there, are responsible for this version. And I just had to include this because I think it's just bizarre that this exists. It's a little less bizarre in 8 Deluxe, not in 8 Deluxe, just because they clearly are like taking liberties with adapting these courses. But the fact that for a while, what? I've played this course before, and that's never happened to me. Oh, I wonder. So I did some transferring around, and I wonder if I accidentally turned off a cheat for conditional out of bounds. Which means I'm gonna have that happen to me on every lap when I go over that. Which there are only 2 laps for this, even though really it's 4 laps. That's not good. I'm just gonna get out of the way here. I think I talked about this when we did this course for the N64 episode. It's kind of funny that the train is really... You could tell that the train is just modded cars for these Mario Kart Wii mods, because the cars honk at you as you drive up to the train, as you may have just heard. But yeah, there's the legendary train there. So fun thing, again, if you've never played Tour and you've only played the N64 or the 8 Deluxe version, in Tour it's a little weird because the train doesn't hurt you. In fact, it throws you up in the air and lets you do a trick off of it. Yeah, I think I just have conditional out of bounds cheat not on, but I don't know why that's not affecting the AI. It should also affect the AI, so I don't know what's going on there. I'll have to look into that, because that's concerning, because LE code should take care of that. But yeah. There we go. I'm sick of baby Luigi looking back at me. Uh-oh. Jesus. Oh, God. That's a tight squeeze. I'm just not gaining much speed over him. Nope. Okay. Well, I wanted a challenge from the AI, and now they're bringing it. So, you can tell I'm more nervous about this because I'm gonna stop talking. I don't know why I'm taking trick ramps, because this is Wii, and that's not really helping me. Drive, drive, drive! Okay, we're good. Alright, so yeah. It's a little long in the tooth because I do have it set to 2 laps. In Mario Kart Tour itself, all races are 2 laps, and it actually counts the second lap as you go through the tunnel. So really, it only does 1 lap through that section in Tour. And obviously, that's laps 2 and 3 in 8 Deluxe. So next we have Remix Rainbow Road 1. I actually did not include Remix Rainbow Road 2, which also exists and also has remakes of it for Mario Kart Wii. Just because I really don't want to include both. This version's by Luca and Toxic Prime. It's just too much of the remix stuff, and I wanted to include more city tracks over just more remix crap. Plus, I think this one's better, honestly. I'm just gonna fuck everyone behind me. So this is completely different here than it is in the actual. I wasn't expecting that ramp to send me a lot higher than the rest. That's kind of bullshit. But yeah. So in the actual track in Tour, there would be, well, here I guess they included it. And I think in the other direction too, unless I'm just completely misremembering. It's just glider ramps, basically intersecting glider paths. Thank you for whacking me into that. I am getting my ass handed to me. Yeah, I really don't like that these ramps all look the same, but only the last two throw me really high in the air. But yeah, otherwise this is pretty much just how this works for Mario Kart Tour, other than obviously there's no gliding in Mario Kart Wii. Not a ton to say about this. I don't know if I really find it any more or less interesting than SNES Rainbow Road. Probably a little less interesting. Just because it's not, despite how I'm making it look here, it's not really that challenging in Mario Kart Tour. And there's no variation of the road width and stuff. But yeah. That's pretty much it for this course. Not a ton to say about these remix courses, really, because they're just glorified SNES tracks for the most part. And yes, I do say SNES. I don't say SNES, or I say Super NES at times. I've never liked saying NES and SNES, especially SNES, because it just sounds like, I don't know, it sounds gross. It sounds like somebody's like sneezing. I don't know. I hate it. What I don't hate is Merry Mountain, which is up next. Obviously, fun Christmas themed track. Obviously, now in 8 Deluxe. This one by Luca and NintenYoshi. I mean, Christmas is my favorite holiday, so I am inclined to like this track. I don't love it. It's fine. Or, it's good. It's not great. They did the smart thing for 8 Deluxe and went ahead and... Oh, come on. My red shell should have hit him. They did the smart thing and added the anti-gravity on the downhill, which is really all anyone asked for. I cannot get fucking going here. I am just getting bullied off the fucking track. I'm just gonna go without the items still. I've always thought the half pipe at the top of this is a little pointless, especially in this and in 8 Deluxe. It makes sense in Tour, because again, kind of as a... Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. It makes sense in Tour because you get major points for going off of that half pipe up there. Because it is considered a super half pipe. I don't even get a fucking item. Okay. And all of a sudden I'm in like 5th, and everything is lagging, so that's not helping. Matters. I don't know if you can really even hear me now. But somehow we've managed to crawl our way up to 2nd. Oh my god, that was perfect timing. He just got nuked, even though he's in 2nd. So, yeah, our fortunes have turned around dramatically over the course of this race. Sorry, I've been distracted this whole time by the race. Yeah, I like the visuals on this track. I think they did a very good job in the visuals department when they brought this to 8 Deluxe. The one kind of weird thing I think about this track is how good the cutting the corner is at the top of the hill there with a mushroom in 8 Deluxe. And it seems like a lot of people don't realize just how much of that corner you can cut. It is a pretty substantial shortcut. You could make some major moves there as you go up. It's also fun in VR just looking up at the mountain, because the mountain is big. like I can actually get a sense that that's like several hundred feet in elevation changes over the course of the race, which is fun. So that is the second cup here. The Peachette Cup, I guess. I don't know. Next up, I don't remember. I think it was the Magic Koopa one. And I think I chose Magic Koopa because he was introduced in the same tour as Remix Ghost Valley 1, which I believe is in this cup. Once again, ton of remixes. Oh, I did include Rainbow Road too. Oh. Oh. I probably should have gotten rid of that for like Amsterdam Drift 2, just to not have so much Rainbow Roadness and so much SNES-ness. This version by Brad De La Boy, it sure looks like SNES Rainbow Road with bouncing mushrooms. I mean, it's got a couple of different layouts, so I don't have a lot to say. I think I like this one less than the other one, just because the layout is, I don't know. Actually, now that I've said that, I'm enjoying it more here. I think I enjoy it less in Mario Kart Tour, but more in one where I can actually fall off, I guess. Because in Mario Kart Tour, you can't really fall off the sides, because there's like invisible guide rails the whole race. You can really only fall if you're between a gap and you get hit by an item. Yeah, actually, I take that back. This is actually more fun than the other one, at least in Mario Kart Wii. Because, like, bouncing up in the air, it's a good mix of turns and straights as opposed to just a straight, turn, straight, turn. I will say these are a little less exciting because, in actual Mario Kart Tour, all of the thwomps, much like they do in Mario Kart 8, cause the road to wobble, and so there's a bunch of tricking off of it. Even though tricks are automatic in Tour, so it's not... Mechanically, it doesn't do much, but it's fun to watch your score multiplier go up. But yeah, just... It sure is an SNES Remix course. And I sure won't care that these never make it into 8 Deluxe. It's not that any of them are particularly bad. Well, except Remix Choco Island 2 is pretty bad. But, it's just that, I mean, they're SNES tracks. Like, and they aren't really gussied up or anything. So, I mean, I guess you could say having, like, bouncy mushrooms is being gussied up, but it's still not that exciting. Speaking of not that exciting, this is Tour Sydney Sprint, and if you've played it in 8 Deluxe, you may be going, oh wow, I like Sydney Sprint. This version is by Brad De La Boy. Problem, this is specifically based on the first one, Sydney Sprint, without any numbers after it in Mario Kart Tour, which is boring as fuck. They did a lot for this course to make it more exciting, I think, I was holding the wrong button to accelerate. What the fuck is wrong with me? They did a lot to make this course more exciting in 8 Deluxe, with the whole route transformations, adding, like, trick ramps on the bridge, because how this long bridge works, as you can see, there's jack shit here. How this works in Tour is there's the train that goes along the side of the bridge there, and they just throw like banana peels and mushrooms out at you, but it's still a very long and boring straightaway. And you may have thought, well, that wasn't very long and boring. Brad De La Boy actually went out of their way to shorten that bridge to try and make this more exciting because it was so fucking boring in Mario Kart Tour. So yeah, I do like this course in 8 Deluxe. I think doing the changing routes really helps it. And also, I've said since I realized that they were doing the whole remixed songs for 8 Deluxe that I really wanted to see Sydney Sprint, because the song I thought was an absolute banger in Tour, and I'm like, oh, that with live instruments is just going to be great. And guess what? It is. It's phenomenal. Yeah, no, the song's great. I guess I'm just going to drive forward now, because I keep getting fucked. Oh! Get fucked. Alright, Rosalina, you've been my driver for most of this journey, but the time has come for me to try and kill you. No hard feelings. No! Yes! You're gonna draft off of me and get the banana. With the face. There we go. But yeah, overall, Sydney Sprint, a lot of fun in 8 Deluxe, but an absolute bore in Tour. Unfortunately, there currently isn't a version for Wii there isn't a version for Wii that covers the route from 8 Deluxe. Also, I wanted to talk about, just before I forget, I remember seeing somebody was complaining about all the tour tracks having Ferris wheels, not realizing that a lot of these cities have Ferris wheels. I thought it was cool as a sort of like, I mean, I like theme parks and stuff. That Luna Park gets a huge shout out from Sydney here with the park version. That is roughly where Luna Park is in Sydney. Right next to the bridge and everything. But yeah, that's cool. Remix Vanilla Lake 1. Vanilla Lake is one of the worst SNES tracks. Well, two of the worst SNES tracks, because both 1 and 2 suck. This version's by Luca. This is, as far as I'm concerned, the only good, well, only decent Vanilla Lake. Because it has things. It has these geysers. It has a nice broken lake here that isn't just a big circle. But yeah, it's actually got a layout that does things that aren't a circle. This like nice combination of turns here is fun. Tricking off of the geysers without trying to get hurt is fun. I don't know how I didn't fuck that up, except then I just drove directly into the snow for no reason. But yeah, this is a good recreation of a pretty decent horse as far as... Of all the SNES remix stuff, I feel like this one's probably my favorite, because it's the one that is, like, better than any of the originals. I might also agree with that. An argument could be made for that for the Ghost House one as well. Jesus, that was some physics fuckery. But yeah, it's a fun course. And it's fun in Tour. Although I should say, this stretch here actually in Tour is a glider ramp. And Luca just turned it into a normal stretch of road. So that's why this version's a little repetitive, because you kind of go over the same little stretch of broken ice twice. My controller just stopped accelerating for a second. I don't know what the hell that was. But yeah, fun course. Not groundbreaking or world-breaking, but it's better than the originals, which is how these remixes should be. And I think this is the first remix that I would say that for. Although Ghost Valley 1 here may also... I don't know. This one's got height, so that's good. I have a I think the only thing that's holding me back on this course this version also by Brad Delavoye, is I have the worst fucking luck on this course in Mario Kart Tour, where the AI would not let me win. I would always just get destroyed in the second lap on the final straightaway, which, again, in Tour, second lap is final lap, so... Like, it was clockwork. And it did not matter how far I was ahead, the AI was not going to let me get the full points for being in first. I guess my only problem I have with this course is... And not this version. I mean, this is an issue in the original. It's not just this version, I should say. It doesn't do much of the whole broken pier thing. I mean, it does in the sense that there are jumps over broken sections, but it doesn't feel like this, you know, like the other Ghost Valleys feel like they have like sections of the road that are broken as like an obstacle, whereas this just feels like the gaps in the road are just ramps. And so it's kind of missing a little something. But, I mean, I'd say it's at least as good as those other ones in terms of actual raceability, because there's, like, actual height and shit to make up for it. But yeah, it's a pretty fun course. My gut, like, I get gut cramps in my gut just thinking about the pain that this course caused me in Mario Kart Tour when I was still playing it. Because it seemed like it was dead set on giving me a goddamn aneurysm for how angry I would get at the fucking AI just randomly deciding to screw me over at the very end. With, like, nothing I could do about it. But yeah, that is the end of that cup. Whatever, the Magic-Koopa Cup. I'm glad that they finally got Magic-Koopa to be an actual racer in one of these after he had his spot taken by Wario in Mario Kart 64. Not that Wario wasn't the better choice. Wario is an essential addition to the roster. But I'm glad Magic-Koopa's finally got to be playable eventually. So yeah, we're already in the final cup here of the ones that I have. And this is where things get interesting, because we bounce into... For two reasons this is interesting. One is that I was done with Tour after those 3 cups. So I think the final course I saw in Tour was when they added Mushroom Gorge. So yeah, I haven't played any of these in Tour. Obviously, we have Sky High, Sundae, and Yoshi's Island, which I have played because of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but I've only ever played these 2 as part of this mod pack. I've never played them in their original form. But I have already tested them in this mod pack, so it's not going to be, like, new here. But first we have Sky High Sundae, or as I like to call it, Better Excite Bike Arena. This version is by ZPL, or I guess he might be ZPL. I don't really know what his nationality is. But yeah, I don't really like this course very much, because it has the exact same problem as Excite Bike Arena, because it's just straightaways and tricks. And I like my courses to have turns. But this version is better because at least it does more interesting things with its layout, and it isn't just a flat stretch of track with some dirt ramps. Like, you go up, you go down. They made the whole thing an anti-gravity and low gravity, and that felt like a band-aid on the track design, because I feel like this track design, they're like, oh shit, there's a bunch of sections where you just can't fucking see where you're going. It's low gravity, so at least you'll be able to see by the time you get over the hill. I don't know. It doesn't feel very well designed, this course does. But it is still more exciting than Excite Bike Arena, so at least there's that. This version, I have a lot of problems with these trick ramps at the beginning, where I almost always do that. Where, like, I'll land from one of the trick ramps, and I'll just have no control and zoom off to the side and fall off. In fact, the fact that I didn't do that in the first lap is, I think, the first time I've ever done that. Or I've ever not fallen off there in a lap. And it's like, I just feel like there isn't anything I can do about it, because, like, I just lose all control. And I think the real problem here isn't even so much, like, this version of this track. Like, I don't even blame ZPL for that. I just don't think this track is made for, like, Mario Kart Wii physics, and it's made for low gravity, so... But, like, in Mario Kart 8, you don't get... It feels like you don't get as much error when you go off of trick ramps and shit, so this just doesn't feel made for this. I guess I should really just go that route every time, except for the fact that I just randomly hit a piece of collision. I don't know why I've been going left there, honestly. But yeah, technically this is probably better here because I can actually, like, look down as I go off of these trick ramps and, like, see where the fuck I'm gonna land. But yeah, still have never liked this, really liked this course. It's not my least favorite in 8 Deluxe, but it's probably in the bottom 5. Obviously, we got some respawn issues here with this version. But yeah, it certainly exists. Sky High Sundae does. I think the biggest problem with this one is they advertise this like it's the first new course to be introduced in the booster pass. Nobody's played it before. So you're like, oh my god, and they showed it and it was like visually interesting. You're like, holy shit. And then the more you looked at it before they released it, the more you're like, is this just a and like when they were showing the pre-release clips, the more you watched it, the more you realize, like, it's just a glorified oval, isn't it? And then it was released, it's like, fuck, it's a glorified oval. I hate glorified ovals. But yeah, so now we have Remix Bowser's Castle 1, which is the only one, this one by Bradella Boy, to be based on GBA stuff instead of Super Nintendo. Which is good, because we get to hear the GBA Bowser's Castle music, which is the best. Well, not the best, but very good. And this whole thing's mechanic is... okay, I just hopped straight over that without any way of recovering. That's the first time that's ever happened to me in this course. But yeah, the whole thing is these conveyor belts here. I don't know if they switch or anything in actual Tour. Like, literally, I don't even know if I've seen a video of this in Tour. Holy shit, how far ahead is Diddy? At least I didn't randomly hop over that second trick ramp there. That was odd. I've never had that happen on this course. Come on, I'm coming for you, Diddy. And hell's coming with me here. Hell's coming with me. I'm not going for that when I'm slow. Oh, well. I guess hell... hell came with me, alright. Because that's where Diddy just decided to drive to. Yeah, I'm just not going to risk trying to trick off of those. Fuck me. Okay. Dropping all the bananas. Another one? Are you fucking kidding me? God, I hate Mario Kart Wii. Ah, Jesus. Okay, I don't hate Mario Kart Wii, but boy does it piss me off more than fucking Mario Kart 8. But yeah, no, that track is good-ish. I mean, it's one of the remix tracks. There's just not a lot to say. They're flat, and I don't think a new flat track is really what we need in Mario Kart. But yeah. Remix Donut Plains 1 is another remix track. It certainly is. Obviously, it's got this whole, like, I want to say lily pads, but they're not technically lily pads, I guess. I guess they're more clovers. I don't know what the hell. Because I feel like lily pads need to actually float on the water, and these are technically slightly above the water. I don't know. I mean, I'll call them lily pads because that's what they look like most. I've always got to make sure to go extra right there, because every time I want to go further to the left, I end up just falling straight into the crack that's in the bridge back there. But yeah, I mean, I'm never a big fan of these whole bouncy shroom shit, so this isn't my favorite course. I mean, I guess I enjoy it more than, like, Donut Plains 1. Probably not as much as the 2 or 3. But it's similar enough. But yeah, once again, I just randomly, I don't know what the hell's going on with my controller, it just randomly stopped accelerating. No, I knew you were gonna try that fucker. Oh, I got him with that? Oh, yeah. I was just getting rid of it so I could use the fucking mushroom boost. Alright, so yeah, we're cruising along here. Already pretty quickly approached the end of these tour courses. I kind of knew this was going to be a rough episode, honestly, because just there isn't a ton of good tour representation with Mario Kart Wii custom tracks. Please don't have another show. Bowser Jr., please. Thank you. Yeah, there just isn't really a lot of good Mario Kart Tour representation in the Mario Kart Wii custom track community, I feel like. And I can understand why. The city tracks are very hard to adapt because, like, the cities are huge. And you have to remodel the entire city. So I understand why people don't like it. But the joy of getting through this episode is the joy of getting to play Yoshi's Island. I fucking love Yoshi's Island in 8 Deluxe. It's a pretty top-tier track as far as I'm concerned. This version's by SquireTurnbolt and TheGamingBram. Obviously, or Bram, I guess. Obviously, this version isn't quite as pretty as the original, but they certainly did a fantastic job making it look good. Obviously, I wasn't able to... You can't do custom intro shit in Mario Kart Wii, so we didn't get the doom. But my first time playing this, I was like, God, they better fucking... If the music is not the athletic theme for this, the track is instantly going down a full letter grade, as far as I'm concerned, because this is one of the best Mario Kart... Or, this is one of the best Mario songs ever, as far as I'm concerned. Whoa, man, I don't know what... What the fuck? What's that? That has never happened before. So, watch this. Whoa, oh god, I was not... Okay, look away. Don't watch that. I was not prepared for that in VR, how quick that turn came up. But yeah, they did actually... I don't know how they did it. I have a feeling I know how. I don't know for sure how they did it, but they do have the upper route there with the bridge magically appearing. Which, as far as I'm concerned, is what puts this course into top tier for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I think that is one of the best mechanics in any course ever. That fucking hitting the question mark block. Hitting the question mark cloud and getting the top route. Oh god, that is really hard in VR for some reason. It's really fucking trippy. It's not hard at all in 2D. But I don't remember what I was going to say about that. No. And I don't know who's in first. Oh, Bowser Jr. Now I am stuck underneath this piranha plant, so I'm just going to get going before he has a chance to wind up again. But yeah, because the reason I think that is one of the best fucking mechanics in any course ever is it comes right at the end of the course, so it can be a huge deal breaker. And there's the skill element, because it takes skill to hit the cloud. Not so much in this version. This version's not as good as the original. But because this version, I think as long as I drive in the middle, you automatically get the upper route, and if you don't hit the middle of that boost, you get the lower routes. But in the original, that cloud has the perfect mix of, it's kind of blind, so you don't know where it's going to be, so it takes a little bit of luck, but it also takes skill to hit. But it's also got such an erratic pattern that you're probably not going to hit it every time. And if you're in first and you don't hit it and you land and you hear the sound of that bridge appearing behind you, you just start fucking sweating bullets because everyone behind you is going to be coming up fast. And I think that is such a neat mechanic, like a neat catch-up mechanic that is like the perfect encapsulation of what makes Mario Kart good, of the balance between skill and like randomness. I fucking love that stupid bridge at the end of this course. But yeah, that is a good remake of that course. Obviously, you can't do that bridge to its full potential. There's just nothing we can really do about it. But visually, it's a very nice remake of it. That'll do it for the Mario Kart Tour tracks, and that'll do it for all of the actual Mario Kart tracks for this series. We have officially raced through Mario Kart history. And we are into the unknown, because next time in this series, it's probably going to be divided up into 2 parts, but we're going to start tackling some actual genuine custom tracks. No remakes of anything. Just, well, okay. I say no remakes of anything. I get to the cup that reminds me that I remade stuff. Technically there are 2 remakes. There's a remake of Ancient Lake and a remake of Frosty Village, both by me from Diddy Kong Racing. No more remakes of Mario Kart tracks. But yeah, we got a nice collection, I feel, of courses here. Technically these are subject to change before the next episode, but I don't think they will. But yeah, good set of courses here, I think. It'll be kind of a weird and awkward episode for me because I'll probably say some bad things about some of these courses along the way, including of my own. But mostly good things, I feel. Because there's a reason I included them. Thank you very much for watching if you made it this far. And I will see you next time. Bye.